This is Joyce Greenleaf calling to order the Southborough Stewardship Committee, August 7th at 7 p.m. I'm going to do a roll call. Kat McKee.
Here.
Kevin Farrington.
Here.
Freddie Gillespie.
Here.
And Brett Peters is quorum, so we can begin. So the first order of business tonight is minutes from July 25th that Kat sent around shortly after that meeting. So I had one or two minor corrections, Kat, if you have them handy.
I've got them open. Yep, ready.
Okay, great. So on the second page at 6E, which is the update on farm dump, it says no parking at community gardens. I think we need to clarify during the gardening season. And then at the bottom, the no spray signs, number 12, most signs have been installed. A few additional ones are required along, let's say, Woodland Road. That was what's still pending. I got one in, but yeah, Woodland Road. And those are only
Great. Anyone else?
I have some.
okay.
Because I spoke to it, should you mention that I attended the site visit that afternoon?
Yeah, that was item
3A. Steward Freddie Gillespie attended the site.
Got it? While we're on 3, I just realized 3C2 needed a apostrophe for Dr. Gregier's list, so I've added the apostrophe.
Thank you. I didn't even catch that.
Didn't we talk about bikes? I've made some edits for the letter, but
Under number 3, Freddie.
yeah, like under 3C, it says, I don't know.
You wanted to say that we discussed not, I'm not exactly remembering what we did about bikes.
Well, this doesn't have to be exactly, but we talked about having a sign that bikes aren't allowed on the conservation land.
Oh,
Does
yeah.
this need to have everything that's in the letter, or is it okay that the letter has other things? Because I don't think you need to. The minutes are not a
Transcript, right?
They're not a transcript, so.
Right. And I actually, when we get to the letter, which is the next item, I did think we should add, like, adding the signage on the conservation rules, which I don't think is in the letter right now. So.
Yeah, and I made some edits that for myself that I'll bring up too.
Okay.
So would you like me to add anything under 3?
No, you don't have to.
Okay. Anything else on the minutes?
Okay.
Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve as amended?
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Oh, sorry, Fred.
Kevin beat me to it. Go ahead.
All in favor? Kat,
Yes.
Freddie,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
and myself, I. So the motion is approved. The minutes are will be submitted as amended. Okay, the next big item on the agenda is our comments on the proposed development. And we wrote this when we thought we had until, I guess, August 15th to submit this. My understanding is that some comments have already been submitted, such as, I don't know, Kevin, if you can speak to that, Conservation Commission submitted comments?
Yeah, at our last meeting on Thursday, we reviewed Melissa's drafts and approved them. So I don't know if she sent them off yet or not, but they were ready to go at that point.
Were any of our concerns reflected in that by Conservation Commission? Because we would have liked the commission to consider our concerns.
They were, I don't recall a lot of overlap. And there was a little mention of, the conservation land, but not nearly as expensive as the stewardship letter.
All right, because would like Conservation Commission to carry some of this water if that's possible, because they're a commission and have pretty copy of Conservation Commission's letter.
I can send it to you guys. I think it was in the select board packet for tomorrow too.
Oh, okay. So ours won't be in the select board packet, but my understanding is that we still have a window to get ours considered.
Yes, I recommend as the individual committee you guys send, as the kind of daily oversight of Breakneck, to send your comments to the select board office and even straight to mass housing if you wanted. Either way is acceptable.
Well, I think when we discussed it at our last meeting, we had decided to send to Conservation Commission, Select Board, and Mass Housing. And I thought maybe planning or something like that, but I'm not sure. So once we go through the letter, we can clarify who we want to send it to. Yes.
Can I state something? So,
Yes.
I feel sad because I thought the conservation commissioners wanted to hear from the stewardship committee on our concerns, so that it's certainly Concom has much more clout than the stewardship committee, and as the eyes and ears of the Concom on the conservation land, which is owned by the Conservation Commission, I thought it was appropriate that they weigh in on the concerns about the conservation land, but I guess that ship has sailed. We've been kind of left out of the loop here because we were informed that we had until the 15th to get the committee letters in, is the email I saw. And now we're being told that there's a public forum tomorrow night that nobody knew about. And also there is letters being reviewed and the selectmen are making their decision tomorrow night without having the input from all the people or committees sending letters in due by the 15th, as we were told. So we do have a window to have our letter included with the selectmen's, but not to be considered by the selectmen unless we get it to them tomorrow, but they didn't have it in advance to read. So, I mean, it's like, I'm sorry to say, but it feels like all this for naught.
I can certainly turn around edits on the letter tonight.
It's unlikely the select board's going to consider it.
No, I understand that, but I'm not sure what I can do about that other than if I get home from Boston in time, get to that meeting and voice some of our concerns in the public forum. So
Right,
That
wouldn't that be how they consider the letter? Like if we send it, even though we didn't get to send it in advance, and I agree with everything you said, Freddie, but if we go, if we share information at the public forum, then they would have to consider it, right? Or am I missing that piece?
I would assume if it's a public forum, that would be true,
Mm-hmm.
but
well, I'll certainly plan day tomorrow night, and depending where we land with the final edits, representing this to the selectmen if the committee is okay with that.
yeah, I wasn't saying there was something to do. I was just voicing my disappointment.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we're all disappointed, but like maybe that's a way to be a more forceful presence of getting them to consider our letter. It doesn't stop us from also sharing it with Concom, from also sharing it with the Mass Housing Authority directly.
Yeah, and the only reason that Concom sent it when we did is because that was the last meeting that we were going to have before the comment period. So that's the only reason that we had already completed ours. Because otherwise we wouldn't have an approved letter by the deadline of the 15th.
It still would be nice to see that letter from Concom. All right, why don't we begin with any and all edits, comments, concerns about what I wrote. And I've already caught a couple little typos, but I used a format that's similar to one I think we used in another example. But anyway, I'll just be quiet and invite anyone to call out things you think need addressing.
Joyce, to make it more organized, can you possibly bring your draft letter up and we can go through it systematically instead of just all over the place?
Yeah,
Like if
I
anyone-
think Melissa is going to do that for me.
Okay.
Right, Melissa?
I can, hold on, I just didn't have it open.
I just sent it to her.
Oh, boy. We're lucky we have Melissa because that would put me in a nosedive.
Yeah, I'm better at Teams because that's what we use at work than I am at Zoom.
Yeah.
I can like literally do anything in Teams.
Oh,
No, that's not really true, but I don't think I can do breakout groups, but I can do anything else.
oh, I haven't tried breakout groups yet.
So we'll just give Melissa a minute to, oh, here she comes. All right.
Oh, boy. I need to, I'm sorry. I need to somehow leave this screen. Exit full screen. I had
Can
written
everyone
down my
see?
edit. Sorry. I thought I had it on my phone, but I don't.
So the first block is a just introductory language asserting we don't support the proposal.
I had some more language there,
Okay.
which we may or may not have discussed. So, I mean, the Open Space Preservation Commission also discussed this. So it is, and I'm sorry, I thought I had it ready and I had written them out. So give me a minute. I don't want to assume that my memory is perfect, that I confused the two meetings. Could have happened. It's just going to take me a minute to open it. I'm really sorry, everyone.
Take your time.
Under stewardship. Okay. So the first paragraph
Yep.
I added, and I don't know if we discussed this, so please bear with me if I do that at all. We are aware that I know we discussed it. I don't know if we decided to put it in the letter. We are aware that the prior variance that the current project is not exempt from. So there was a prior variance and the current project is not exempt from those findings. And that does not allow a third building to be built on the lot. And I would support that restriction, that it stay in place. Because this is when you're saying we do not support.
Mm-hmm.
And this also is an additional reason why not to support it, because the property is already restricted to not having another building on it.
So we did discuss that. You're correct. And if I excluded it, it's because I didn't know how to word it. I didn't know how to word it.
So I wrote something like, we are aware that that a prior variance on the project and the 40B is not exempt from that restriction.
On the project or the property?
Sorry. There is a prior variance restricts the property so that a third building is not allowed. And as a 40B, this 40B is not exempt from that restriction. Because 40Bs are exempt from zoning. We maybe don't even have to put that in, just make it simple. We are aware that there is an existing variance on the property that does not allow a third building on the lot.
Existing or prior? So it still exists. So an existing, we are aware of an existing variance that restricts the property. So a third building is not allowed.
And we support that restriction.
We support, is everyone okay with that change, that addition?
I think people need to say yay or nay.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little outside of our scope. That doesn't really have a lot to do with Breakneck Hill, but it's fine.
The way I see it that it does, though, I'll just, if this makes it, needs to be put in there. If the land adjacent to the conservation land isn't buildable, why would we support a building there? We already said we don't support it because of the significant, the impact to wildlife habitat and the fact that it's not a buildable lot. Shouldn't somebody mention that?
So
Yeah, I don't know that I know that. That's the only thing. Yeah.
You haven't been made aware that that lot is not buildable?
I've been made aware that people think the lot's not buildable, but I don't know if that means it's not buildable.
Are you aware? I just want to not push something down someone's throat that they don't agree with. Are you aware that there's a variance that does not allow a third building?
I'm aware that there was a variance that said at the time a third building wasn't allowed. I don't know how that works with 40B or whether the granting authority can override it. And I'm not a town council, but
Well,
yeah.
Without going down that road, overriding a variance, which I've never heard of, but that's another legal thing. Can we just support the existing restriction on the property that doesn't allow a third building? That doesn't say,
Sure.
that's not saying whether they could get around it, which they certainly have plans to do.
So I'm going to suggest that in that sentence, in short, the stewards do not support the proposal, and then it could continue. Furthermore, we are aware of an existing variance that restricts the property, so a third building is not allowed. We support that restriction.
That sounds good to me.
Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, thank you. Then the next paragraph I call and set up the recommendations. Did anyone have any edits there?
I did. Southborough's Breakneck Hill Conservation Land, the largest town-owned conservation land in the town of Southborough. Our crown jewel, and then the rest.
So not crown jewel?
No,
Or-
include crown jewel, our crown jewel.
Just
So
make
it's like
sure we say the largest conservation land here. Okay,
Town, not conservation land, town-owned
largest town-owned.
conservation land. Yeah, you don't have to say in the town of Southborough.
Largest.
The largest town-owned conservation land, comma,
The crown jewel of Southborough abuts the proposed development. Okay.
yeah.
Can I ask a quick question? Are we okay if the minutes just reflect a discussion about the draft letter ensued and I don't go into details?
Yes.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm trying to mark these in the actual, like on my, with my pen, so I can make them after. Okay. Anything else in that paragraph, or can we go to the concerns and related recommendations? Okay. So then I'll go ahead, hearing no, so the first one I highlighted was deer management.
Can I suggest that be put further down the list? Because it's,
Yes.
and I had one little edit.
Yeah, this is evidenced. I think I missed the D, I know.
I don't look at any of that stuff.
Oh,
Mine is more about content. I thought putting in with I understood your intention, but I suggest taking out with social tolerance, because
oh, sure.
that's up to the committee to decide. I understand it's not a feel-good decision, but I thought the rest of it, if you just took out with social tolerance, because, you know, you're never going to get consensus on this sort of a management technique, right? People have feelings. I have feelings. I'm not doing it myself, but, you know, the
So
humane
how do
management
people
approach.
feel about if it said deploying management strategy to balance deer population with habitat support? And maybe at the end, we can talk about the order that they go in, because I just,
Okay, that's easier.
yeah, and we'll just, okay, anything else on this section?
I'm
looking at my edit, so I can't tell, are people in agreement if they don't say yes? I
I
have
think Kat had something. Kat, did you have something?
yeah, I mean, I have a problem with the deer deployment strategy, deer management strategy, but I think I'll be a minority on the group, so I just will say it that way and leave it, and we can move on.
Yeah, I understand. Okay. The next one was implications of running water. Any edits
I
there?
had one before that.
Oh, yep. I didn't know we were still on that. Yep. What?
Well, it's a new bullet.
Oh, okay.
So there are wetlands on the site. And we recommend that although a 40B is exempt from our local bylaws, that they adhere to them. And say that however you want, but we recommend that the local bylaw is followed during the permitting, even though they're exempt from it. Does that fit in with your? I know we talked something about it last time. Kevin, does that fit in with conservation's viewpoint?
Yeah, it does. You know, my understanding is they'll probably ignore that, but it's good to state it anyway, again.
So Joyce, do you need something to say that we want?
So I've been doing sort of concern, then recommendation. So the concern is protecting the wetland, protecting the wetlands on site. And so we recommend that local bylaws be followed.
Yep.
Are people comfortable with me filling that in a little bit, or do you want to write it together here?
I'm okay that you write it.
Yeah, that's fine. It would be better, I think, if we could tie it back to why that matters to Breakneck Hill. You know, habitat for wildlife that uses conservation property, but needs access to the wetlands or something, you know, something like that. But
Habitat for wildlife.
Well, there's probably not going to be much wildlife there, but I mean, is there?
Well, if they pave right up to the edge of the wetland without
Yeah.
any kind of buffer zone, then that's gonna definitely not help habitat, wildlife habitat.
Can we say something about buffering? The buffering property provides benefit to the habitat on Breakneck Hill? Something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I don't think wildlife knows about property lines or anything like that.
Right. I
Yeah.
just know that when I say things like that, I get pushback, like, what do you think? They're gonna be herds of deer running through the parking lot, and it's like, that there is, the wetlands support wildlife habitat on the conservation land. How's that?
Yeah, that would be.
But we're talking about protecting wetlands on the development site, right?
Right, so
Just-
why do we care? Correct?
Yeah,
Because those wetlands support,
wildlife habitat on
system.
Breakneck Hill.
yeah. Yeah,
Okay. And we recommend they adhere to all local related bylaws as the process progresses.
well, you can't say that. It's
Oh.
not all, because
Oh, well, the relevant,
wetland, yeah, the
wetland.
wetland bylaw. Because there's another one coming up later, we want them to adhere to.
Okay.
Okay.
So this
So
is a
then-
new concern, new bullet, and then separately implications of running water. Is that scratched?
No, keep that.
Keep
It
that
flows
any,
from wetlands to flowing water. I had an addition to the bullet.
okay,
Maybe we don't need to write it, but so if this is a jurisdictional water element, the building may not be able to be located in its current location.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out when they come in front of the Conservation Commission, right?
Yeah, the fact that when I was on the sidewalk, it was like it didn't exist. I guess you guys will do your due diligence at that time, but being aware of it now, I don't think hurts. And then I wrote, if it's not jurisdictional, the impact of that flowing water needs to be addressed. I'm concerned about, what happens to water flowing down off Breakneck Hill that gets stopped. Does it back up or somehow erode going further uphill? I mean, I don't know what happens to rushing water when it hits a wall of a building, right? That's why I'm thinking there's an impact.
yeah, so in terms of actual edits, I'm not sure what to say or how to use that idea of jurisdictional.
You can just leave that off.
Okay,
I think it gets a little too blah, blah, blah. And the Conservation Commission will be dealing with it themselves, but I think there's value in mentioning it. Because
the running water, yeah,
there was a definite, don't look over here attitude during the site walk.
are other folks okay with that language, Kevin and Kat, on implications in researching the nature of that water as exists?
Yes.
Yeah, and again, tying it back to Breakneck, if we can make sure that it doesn't back up onto the conservation land or something, just put something in there that puts it back in our scope and why we're worried about it. Yeah.
Yeah, because altering the flow can have unintended consequences upstream, in my experience.
Yeah, and we're kind of downstream too, right? The property kind of slopes, Breakneck Hill kind of still slopes down along the back property line there. So,
Right, it could end up going over there too, I suppose.
yeah.
Although this water looks like it's a feeder to the wetland system on the property. But yeah, if they block it up, where is it gonna go further?
Where's it gonna go? Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Uh,
is it gonna make yeah, a big wet spot, like yeah.
Well,
Okay,
that-
so I will add language like, altering the flow can have unintended consequences to the conservation land.
Sounds good to me.
That's great.
Okay. Outdoor lighting was the next one, where I say the concern is for birds and other animals and wildlife.
I had one added bullet.
Yeah,
It says abide by it says utilize dark sky lighting, which is great, but I thought we should also ask them to abide by the town's light bylaw at a minimum. We'd like better. Right?
at a
But
minimum, abide by the town's light
bylaw.
law.
So they don't have to abide by any town bylaw, but we're asking them to abide by that at a minimum, because it would be nice if they did more, which is the 10 PM that you have here.
Yeah, we talked about motion detectors. I don't know if we set an actual time, so I just pulled that out of the air.
What was funny, when we were there, they actually mentioned that they thought the property had abutting them, their property should have timers on their lights. Which is, nothing to do with this project, but it was just kind of funny.
Yeah, and I can add also where per the point that Kevin's a couple of times about tying it to Breakneck Hill light sources at night cause harm to wildlife who find their habitat at Breakneck Hill or something like that. Tie to Breakneck Hill more explicitly, I guess, as much as we can.
Yeah, you can even specifically mention we have a health, well, we don't know, but there's lots of fireflies at Breakneck Hill. You can kiss that goodbye once this goes in
Right.
that portion of the property.
Anything else on this one? This one had a few more bullets and some of the others had 3.
I am trying to, can somebody help me? I had to go to my, to my Word document. How can I get back to the Zoom page?
There should be some taskbar.
I have a Zoom taskbar. It says, hi, I'm Zoe. That's not it, is it? I can't find you guys is the problem. And I need to be able to mute myself if I.
What kind of computer are you on?
Joyce, can you mute me?
Can I mute you?
Can anyone mute me?
Yeah.
Somebody
Yes.
needs to mute me because I can't find the webs. I can't find Zoom and I can't mute myself.
Is it that sharing the document made Zoom full screen and you need to switch out of full screen? Maybe like an Alt tab if you're on a Windows machine.
Stop sharing and then reshare, and hopefully that'll help you.
Freddie's muted, so.
Right. So we don't know if it helped. Do you think she's ready to be unmuted? I don't know who muted her. I wasn't able to.
I couldn't either. Melissa has all the power.
Melissa has the power. Oh, she's ready to be unmuted. She just texted me.
Herself. It should prompt her.
I'm sorry, what was that, Melissa?
I said, I think she has to unmute herself. It should prompt her.
Oh, she doesn't have a screen. She doesn't know how to get out of the meeting to get back in. Can we get her, can we like get her out, kick her out so she can get back in? Fresh?
So if I hit remove, will I remove her? I see I have power now. Thanks, Melissa. Should I try?
And then unblock her if you do that way. But you can. Yeah.
You want me to remove her?
Yeah, go ahead.
Freddie, I'm doing this with love. Okay, done.
Okay.
Okay, I'm assuming she's gonna come back in, so we will wait till we have quorum again before we continue. Are you able to unblock her?
Yeah.
Melissa?
It still hasn't let her in.
No.
Okay.
Can you see her trying to get in? No, still can't. Can we invite her somehow?
That's a good idea. I can try. Oh,
What was that?
all right. I just sent her an invite in case that helps.
Do you know where that goes?
Oh, I sent it to her Southborough email.
no, she still can't. So I don't really know how to fix this. Oh, she's gonna try from the
Call
town
in.
website.
She can call in. I forget, where do you get to see this information?
On the town website.
Audio settings. No. Where is it? Melissa,
I think the planning board had someone that Zoom bombed.
what was that, Melissa?
I said, I think they probably beefed up some of their safety protocols because planning got Zoom bombed.
Oh. So it's harder to unblock, you mean?
I betcha.
How do we grab the audio phone for this Zoom meeting? If I switch to phone audio, does that take me out of Zoom or just give me a number? I'm gonna try it. Oh, it just gives a number. So I could send her the number and she could call in.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's do that. Snipping tool. I will email that to her if someone's texting with her.
I can text her a number.
Just let her know that I'm gonna be emailing her the stuff.
Yep.
Just sent it.
Just texted her that you are emailing a dial-in. That's what you said.
That's right.
If that doesn't work, we're gonna have to call it because we don't have quorum.
Oh, that will work.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, let's see.
Oh, wait, I think if I stop the webinar, it'll allow me to edit the webinar. So last time I did this, I was allowed to edit the webinar while we were live, but I can no longer do that. So if you guys give me 2 minutes, I'll stop, pause, and you can all rejoin, and that will allow me to get Freddie back in.
Okay.
All right. So give me 2 minutes and then you can rejoin.
Oh, so we're getting logged off?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think that's the only way I can allow her back in now.
Okay, so we're logging off. So if everyone could just rejoin in 2 minutes.
It'll be the same link.
Okay, bye.